Hi, Sam. It's great to have you out here, and we look forward for a engrossing conversation with you. Let me start off with asking you that what inspired you to actually have the partnership with TechM?
My name is Sam Yen. I work at JP Morgan. I lead a team that's called Enterprise Application Solutions. And what that is making sure that the richness and the capabilities of all the JP Morgan financial products are exposed to our clients in an environment that they're used to. So a lot of times it's the ERP systems. So a lot of integrations with the different ERPs. But Roshan, to answer your question, yeah, no, we've been great partners now for over a year in terms of the origins of the partnership. Tech Mahindra is a customer of JP Morgan's. I think that started the conversations, and my former boss here started beyond the client relationship, also what a partnership might look like. I think we were just really kind of kicking off and rolling these strategic partnerships with the major ERP providers. So we thought it was a great opportunity to be able to kick it off.
Wonderful. Building on top of that, I mean, you rightly said the partnership is close to about a year now. And how do you actually see the partnership with TechM getting aligned to the strategy that you have for the entire adoption of the payment solutions into the market, as well as how do you kind of foresee it taking shape from a strategic standpoint?
Yeah, I think one of the great things about Tech Mahindra is just very tech forward. Obviously, it's right in the name, but it complements what we try to do ourselves, right? I think JP Morgan, of course, we're in the financial services industry, or we're one of the leaders kind of in that area. But again, any sort of transformation that's being done today in finance can't be done without technology. Tech Mahindra has the history of being kind of just very, very deep in subject matter expertise, in tech implementation, subject matter expertise in industries, the close relationship with customers. So it's definitely a very complementary relationship. Honestly, you all are very hungry as well. You wanted the relationship, you wanted, and we look for that as well, because ultimately it's to serve our joint clients and to deliver the best experience that we can for our joint clients. Maybe a little bit about from a strategy perspective, what we're trying to do from a JP Morgan perspective, at least in this area. Like I said, I think it starts with meeting clients where they are and helping them with whatever finance and treasury transformation that we can do, and meeting them where they are really takes two things into account. First, and I think we're going to talk about this a little bit later. From a user experience perspective, how do we meet clients where they are from a user experience perspective? But it also means meeting clients where they are in terms of where they are from both a finance transformation and also a tech transformation maturity level, right? A lot of clients right now are undergoing a lot of transformation from an IT perspective. I've listened now to 2 days of this Oracle AI World. I don't know. I mean, how many times do you hear AI every single minute being talked to?
Every 30 seconds.
Every 30 seconds, right? At least. The reality is everybody is excited about it. Some people are a little bit afraid about it, but not everybody is ready for that quite yet. Because even if you want to adopt it, if we're talking to the head of treasury, if they want to adopt some of the new things, if you're talking to accounts payables, they want to adopt the new payments agent from Oracle. It requires a tech transformation to happen as well. So one of the things, so the strategy is, yes, we want to be on the leading edge of everything that's going on in terms of innovation. So we do want to be on the forefront of that. But even, almost more importantly, we also want to help clients get to that point where they're ready to adopt that. So meeting clients where they are, meaning that, hey, there's a lot of clients from our perspective, when we talk to clients that are global, that are just trying to get banking visibility happen. Like, we are one bank, they might have hundreds of banks. You can't do any sort of real strategic transformation if you don't even have visibility in terms of where your cash position is, right? Because you have hundreds of banks. The global banks are okay. The regional banks are, have a lot of tech capabilities, but I'm talking about some of the local banks in regions. We just came back from a tour East Asia, right? That's kind of the blind spot of a lot of treasurers. Is just how do you get that? First of all, how do you get visibility? How do you get real-time visibility? And once you have that, then you can do everything on top of that, right? Then you can start doing predictive, you can do forecasting, and you can start to talk about kind of more advanced types of things. So that's, in a nutshell, kind of the strategy, is to make sure that we're meeting clients where they are from a user experience perspective, but also from a maturity perspective. And again, from that tech maturity perspective, this is why over the last couple of years, we've really tried to make it an effort to partner with the tech industry, the ERP providers, global system integrators, because that technical piece is just going to be kind of the building blocks to do any of the advanced, finance functionality that people are trying to get to.
I think, Sam, I completely concur with you in terms of the strategy that you have outlined, how TechM can support you, because we have, in our tagline also, we say scale at speed, because we are hungry, but also we have the global reach. And with the customer base that you want to actually kind of expand on a global footprint, I think that's the number one part where we can actually kind of support you. Second is, you touched upon the depth of domain knowledge that we have on the payment side. We work with a number of actually marquee clients, and that has given us exposure towards a lot of actually in-depth payment knowledge, coupled with actually the third thing, which is the technology part. Our capability on the enterprise application side, be it Oracle or anyone else, is so strong. The COE that construct that we have, and the solutions that we build on top of that, uh, which could also be a bolted solution on top of actually what you offer to your customers. I think those things come together, and as you rightly said, AI has been talked about so often, and AI gets talked about so often in every context of actually the conversation. The capability on emerging technologies that we have actually built in, I can proudly say that we stand out in the crowd among our peer group. So we would be definitely a formidable force, coupled with what you want to actually achieve in the market. You touched upon actually customer experience, and I know that everything that we all do is to actually kind of bring value to our customers. How are you ensuring that the solutions that you're actually coming up on the payment side bring a better actually customer experience, but also actually high value towards actually what they want to do towards the consumers?
Yeah. Well, thank you for asking that question. Prior to this role, I was like deeply in the design kind of area. I was the head of design actually for a big ERP provider prior to this role. So and in the field of design, it's not just making screens look pretty. It's really about kind of understanding who it is that you're trying to serve, understanding what their pain points are, what their friction points are, what their needs are, and then systematically kind of making that as efficient, as easy to use as possible. So again, it's not, and that's like every aspect of the experience, end to end. It's not just making, again, it's not just the user experience. So if you look at what we've tried to do from a JP Morgan perspective, every aspect of that experience is important for us. We worked for a number of years. My colleagues are here that have been part of this team longer than I have, to really make sure, especially with Oracle, like we've been on a numeral, this is the third year of our journey together with Oracle. We wanted to start off by, again, meeting clients where they are, making it easy for them to not ever have to leave their ERP system and conduct, transactions directly from there. But also the implementation process itself, right? How easy can we make it so that if they, if they're a JP Morgan client and they're an Oracle client, how do we make sure that it doesn't take, these week-long, month-long, many month-long kind of implementation cycles sometimes, right? We're not there yet, but I think we've made a lot of improvements. If you're familiar with the Oracle solution, like we spent a lot of time making sure that that last mile was connected as easy as possible. Once you have the bank account and things like that, you're literally able to just go into the Oracle system itself, go into the preferences, and then connect to the JP Morgan system, choose the accounts that you want to share, and it's easy as that, right? So again, thinking about that experience end to end, I think has been one of the important things from the very beginning. And as the relationship with Oracle has gone on, we've been able to add more financial products, right? We started off just by providing banking visibility, some payment automation, and the ability to be able to reconcile, the transactions, back into your Oracle system. But over the years, we've added more capabilities. We've added things like touchless expense. We've added financing capabilities, supply chain financing, virtual card capabilities. We've just recently also added the ability to do account validation services, right? So as more features and capabilities come on, we've also noticed, hey, again, from an experience perspective, it becomes easier to do all that stuff within Oracle. We actually get more usage. We actually see if you improve the user experience, it actually benefits everybody. It makes it easier for the users, but it also benefits JP Morgan because it becomes stickier. It's easier to use. People use it more, and when people use it more, that's good for everybody involved, right? So that's what I might want to say in terms of user experience. But again, this conference is now called AI World, so I'm going to talk a little bit about AI if you don't mind as well.
Sure.
AI, I think, if you haven't seen the demos, they're everywhere now. But Ask Oracle and some of the ChatGPT like agentic ways of interacting, or the chatbot like ways of interacting with Oracle, that's kind of here to stay, right? Like, does anybody not believe that that's going to be the next generation, right? I've heard the term AI is the next UI, right? And I think there's a lot of truth to that, because user experience has always tried to be more natural in terms of how you interact with it. Now how can you get more natural than actually natural language? Like, now we have a natural language interface, but it's not just text, it's natural language, it's multimodal, right? So you're able to interact, ask normal questions to complex structured data, unstructured data systems, get responses. And if that's just going to get smarter going forward. It's going to be hyper-personalized going forward. It's going to remember what's interesting to you. And it's going to streamline kind of your activities. And from a multimodal perspective, it's not always going to respond to you in text, right? It's going to be able to respond to you in the ways that's most appropriate. If you need to see a graphic, it doesn't have to keep it in that small, like mobile-like window. It could use the whole screen. It could respond through videos. So I'm very, very also excited about, this started with the question about experience. I think experience is going to be kind of very important, and this AI dimension just opens up a lot more doors to allow both of us to go to our clients and figure out kind of what's the most kind of easy to use and most useful kind of experience that we could deliver this.
On a lighter note, since you actually said we're getting recorded, you should be actually concurring that TechM is the best partner for JP Morgan.
Absolutely.
But I think on what you just mentioned, just build on a couple of thoughts. I like the catchphrase that you said, like AI is the new UX, and the dynamic nature. In fact, for an insurance client of ours, we built actually the entire portal to be dynamic based on how the user actually comes inside the portal, requests for things, screens get built dynamically based on that. Information is passed, information is actually stored, and then when the user actually kind of moves out, the entire actually kind of site that has been created kind of collapses. So that's making it hyper personalized kind of a solution, but also making sure that you use the technology in the right way, and you use the consumption of cloud in the most appropriate way. So I think it's very apt.
By the way, that's not my quote. AI is the next UI. I don't even know if I fully believe that. But I do think it's provocative, right? Because it like I said, it does provide you like a completely another way of interaction, which brings together so many different things.
Absolutely. I think if we just move on in terms of the discussion, we spoke about AI a bit earlier. Now, the biggest issue that we actually see is clients get very concerned about data and security. And when they're doing actually payment transactions, there's a lot of data that actually kind of is used, is being referred to, is being kind of extracted and pushed across in the routes that actually the payments are done, how do you actually kind of foresee, as well as how have you actually built the right guardrails in terms of the solution that you've built?
Yeah, so I haven't seen, although it's possible, again, technology makes a lot of things possible way before corporations are ready to kind of use the power of that technology. So of course today you can automate a lot of payments. You could actually take the human completely out of the loop. I haven't seen anybody do that yet, and I think we're far away from that, unless you get into like the blockchain types of payments and programmable payments. There's some things there. But for the most cases, what I've seen right now is there's still a human in the loop, right? So I spoke to some of you last night as well. The pattern, if you will, of most interactions that I've seen is that AI is very good at driving awareness. You might not be aware that there's an exception coming into place, so it's good at surfacing that and bring that to your attention. Another good thing AI is very good at is providing context. Okay, oh, I got this alert. Like why did this happen? Like, how did I get into this situation, right? So that's the second thing. The third thing is AI is actually good at providing some recommendations. Okay, now that I'm in this situation, and now that I understand why I'm in that situation, what are some different recommendations? And usually, again, there's a human in the loop to actually make a decision, right? Because AI helps provide information to help you make the decision, but the human is still really in the loop to make that decision. And then AI could come in and help you execute, what that decision was. So to make that process, very real, we have a couple demos that we've done where there's a notification that's triggered, and together with the ERP and the bank, that second piece, providing context, that's even more powerful when you have the ERP system that has all the processes, but you also combine that with the payment and the banking data that we have. So bringing that together provides a lot of context. I'll give you one example, right? So this one demo that we put together shows a supply chain financing situation. And the trigger is, hey, you're running low on cash. So a bank, we could have done that without an ERP. We could have said, hey, you're running low on cash. But the next question, why am I running low on cash? That's where we also need the information from the ERP to say, oh, well, maybe your buyers have like tripled their orders in the next month, and that's why you're running low. So it might not be a bad thing, it might be a good thing. And then the next step of that is there's a lot of different ways to get out of that situation, right? Especially if you're a partner with a bank like JP Morgan, there's supply chain financing things. There's other ways where you can kind of mitigate your working capital. So that's where AI could now take a look at some of the subject matter expertise of the financial industry to provide you alternatives. We can let you make the decision and then help you kind of do the execution. So that's an example of that. But I think that's just one kind of aspect of your broader question, which is you were asking about security. Pretty regulated industry from a banking perspective. So we're taking it also very, very slow. Like if you look at the internal things, we're pushing very, very far ahead from an AI perspective, but we're being very guarded in terms of the external capabilities. So you'll see this, I think, progress over time. But again, payments, this number blows me away every single time I hear it about my own company, right? JP Morgan, we process over $10 trillion a day in payments, right? So we're only gonna make sure that things are very, very robust and ready to go before we release something outside.
I think makes sense. In fact, something that I picked up from the partner day that you all had actually organized is the advent of blockchain actually coming again into the mainstream, as well as token-based kind of approach of passing information across, which are very secure ways of doing the business. So it was refreshing to see actually the amount of focus that JP Morgan actually has towards that. Sam, maybe to close this conversation, we see a lot of transformation that is happening on the payment side, and it has been actually transforming for the last maybe 5 years or maybe even more than that. If we were to sit together maybe 3 or 5 years down the line, how do you actually kind of see the space evolving? And what is the conversation that you and I would actually have 3 years or 5 years down the line?
First of all, the caveat, I hate predicting the future because I'm always wrong. And the people that do predict the future, I don't think they ever kind of go back and see what their hit rate was. But there's a couple of trends. Like I always liked it. We're, I think, all in the corporate and enterprise space here. So one precursor to that is always, that I always look to is consumer. What's happening in your personal lives? What are your kids using these days, right? And like, I don't think anybody could argue that almost everybody's using, whether it's ChatGPT, Gemini, or whatever, Google, Microsoft Copilot in their personal lives. If you look at what your kids are doing, they're probably using it even more than you are. So that's going to bleed over. So I do think like the promise. I think we'll, in 3 years, hopefully we're going to see a lot less proof of concepts, much more ubiquitous use. You're already seeing that in developer efficiency, but I think you're going to see that in more kind of lines of business. Whether it's like the accounts payables, receivables, the treasury functions that we look at, supply chain efficiencies, like all of that stuff. I think you're going to see more globally. We didn't talk about digital currencies and blockchain and things like that. So especially in our industry, I think that's also going to be something you're going to hear more about. With the Genius Act this year, I was at a treasury conference, and the most attended session was all about stablecoin and corporate customers learning from each other. What are their adoption plans, because this is all coming so quickly. So I think that's and all of these things, I think, at the end of the day, lead to like one common theme, which is like a reduction of friction. So in 3 years, I think we're going to see just a reduction of friction along kind of all these aspects. Whether it's user experience and embedded solutions, AI streamlining manual processes, or things like AI and stablecoin and blockchain reducing frictions in the financial industry, such as cross-border payments and those types of things.
I tend to agree, and maybe just to add on to what you actually said, my take is that with the advancements that are actually happening in technology, it is forcing the businesses to actually kind of reimagine themselves. It's also actually kind of forcing the businesses to collaborate cross industries. Now, I see a lot of actually telco industries wanting to kind of partner with financial services industry to kind of bring solutions forward to their customers. And I think thereby going to the third part, that I feel that what we touched upon in terms of hyper personalization, this is all actually leading in terms of making consumers right in the center and trying to see how their experience is going to be very different. Um, Coupled with actually definitely a lot of focus which is coming is in the security and the trust and the compliance part. So I think those things will keep on evolving, will keep on challenging us. But how the AI discussion a few years back, the regulators and all the governments were actually kind of looking at it as why not to do it. Today it's like what should I do to kind of move even faster. I think those kind of changes will keep on actually having across the years. But I think your take on actually different aspects has been quite refreshing today. Thank you so much for your time. Actually,
Can I answer maybe that question on, and just end it on a positive note as well, or hopefully an optimistic note? Like I said, I think with all new technologies, we're in that disruptive phase, and like I go back to, like, AI is not a new topic, right? Those of you that know, like 50s, 60s, like
it was there during the World War itself.
Yeah, I mean they were doing a lot of deep thinking on that, and like the whole purpose of artificial intelligence, from an optimistic perspective, wasn't to take over what humans do and replace humans, but to augment human capabilities, right? Doug Engelbart, if anybody knows that name, really talked a lot about augmenting human capabilities with AI and technology. So my hope in 3 to 4 years is, like, right now there's a lot of force reduction, but hopefully, like in 3 to 4 years, we're going to figure out, it's not necessarily force reduction, but how do we redeploy all the folks to leverage the technology and help companies grow and hopefully do something good for the world as well.
Fascinating conversation as always, Sam. Thanks for the partnership between JP Morgan and TechM. I would leave also on a positive note, like in 3 to 5 years, possibly we'll actually be your largest kind of partner in terms of doing work across the
Let's
customer
make it happen.
base. Let's make it happen. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.